I was talking about this with my wife last night.
Amber Tamblyn.
Amber Tamblyn.
Was she in Sister to My Traveling Pants?
Yes.
I reference that movie so much.
I'm f***ing one of those girls. Dude, I'm f***ing nailing one of those pants girls.
The thing I've always dug about you is you always had this underground feel, like almost like a punk band feel. So shit like that, I feel like you'd
yeah, I mean, in the beginning, certainly, yeah. I was.
You fucking start.
Come on, I sold out. I did chipmunk movies. So
throw me in the briar patch. I would do. You realize I'd do that for the rest of my life.
I do not regret it at all. I don't give a shit. I know it was a big deal for some people, and not a big deal. It was a pretend big deal for 10 minutes. That at the time when I did it, to some people, I lost any kind of credibility because of that. But I don't regret a second of it. It's for kids. Kids love it.
And parents. Yes. Your daughter's seven?
She just turned 6 last week.
6.
Yeah.
So now you're going through the phase where you get to watch stuff with your kid.
I haven't done that.
For real?
I purposely haven't done that. I just don't want to kind of ruin it. Or alter the experience of seeing a story like that. And I haven't. She'll see it eventually. It's just, and there are also literally a million options that are good. There's a lot of great stuff for kids out there.
But as a dad, when I had kids and you were in that, I went, oh, okay, there's one of my guys. I got to watch it. I got to enjoy it.
Yeah, but that's and I'm glad and I appreciate that. And I do. When I was doing it, I had. In the back of my mind, I had the idea of, I know that parents are going to be sitting, having to watch this over and over and over again. So if I can do something for the parents and try to be funny and engaging so when I'm on, you don't roll your eyes like, oh my God, this thing is an hour and a half of nonsense. And then hopefully there's like a little something for the adults watching.
I have to say this out loud. I cannot believe with a career like yours that someone would ever attempt to say that doing one more, I think it was 3 movies, right?
It was contractually obligated. Nobody, I don't think anybody thought it was going to be $1 billion, business.
The Chickmunks were the biggest thing when I was a kid.
Huge.
Do you remember like the fucking albums? You'd hear them over Christmas.
Yeah,
dude. But you've done. I mean,
I get people that are now, adults, really young adults, but they're adults. And I still get people like, hey, man, aren't you the guy who stole the chipmunks? It's always the same thing. Aren't you the guy who stole the chipmunks? Didn't you steal the chipmunks?
Can I tell you, out of all the things you've done in your career, those are the not. And by the way, I'm not even talking like out of all the things you've done in your career, the number one thing I think of, and this is because I'm a comic and I'm sure you'll understand it, is like when you and Larry the Cable Guy went after each other. Mm-hmm. I remember that. Like that was like young comic and gossip back and forth. Everyone was like, yo, did you see
comic beef?
Dude, that was a fun one. I remember I think you and Patton went back and forth one time.
Yeah, well, that was about that was a misunderstanding.
That was about Ratatouille, right?
No, it was about chipmunks.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was, but it was a complete 100% misunderstanding on my part, and I was also a little oversensitive because all this shit came out in a matter of days, and it was kind of a bummer, and it was a lot of piling on, and again, it was all nothing. It's just easy to go, you suck, dude. Yeah. And then go get.
That was the heyday of Twitter too, I think.
Yeah, well, it was Facebook, I think,
really?
Was the. Yeah, I don't even know if Twitter was around then, right? I mean, when was Twitter around?
You know what I did? This is an old man hack. I made it so that I don't have the app anymore. So if I want to see Twitter, it's got to be on my phone, and my eyes don't work enough to see it. So I don't read Twitter anymore.
You know what? Similar, but I had to replace my phone like 3-4 weeks ago, and I got I got an Android, but I used to have a Samsung, but the only thing I could get quickly was the Google Pixel, which I have now.
Yeah,
and I couldn't, and I'm not good at this shit at all, like transferring stuff and had to have, people walk me through it. And my Twitter and Instagram didn't transfer. A bunch of stuff transferred. All you do a little peer-to-peer thing.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff went in there, but a bunch of stuff I had to go through by hand. And then when it came to Twitter and Instagram, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it.
Really?
I'm not going to do it. And I've taken a dump has been liberating now. I can.
Hey,
my mind is free to wander.
What do you do when you take a dump? That's all I do.
I get back to my roots, and think a lot of precious thoughts.
Wait, do you read books?
Yes, I read
Are you
books.
serious?
I do read books.
Like what?
Oh, on the show?
No, just in life. I've never fucking read a book.
I read books.
What is David Cross reading?
Well, right now I'm about a little over halfway through They Knew by Sarah Kendzior. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But I just read Rob Delaney's book too.
I like Rob Delaney a lot.
Yeah, he's an
I like
amazing
Rob
guy.
Delaney a lot.
Beautiful human too.
Yeah, I like Rob Delaney a lot. I tried to reach out when I was in Europe in UK to do a podcast with him, but I never got through. I didn't reach out hard enough, to be honest.
Right, and
but
he's insanely busy too, and he lives there, so his family. He's got.
Wait, what's They Knew about? They Knew sounds about like some antebellum haunting.
No, it's nonfiction, and I've got to stop. I got to cut down on the nonfiction and go back to fiction.
I love nonfiction. I only like nonfiction.
It's just too much. It's too depressing and too. It's about the how we got to where we are and all the players in the play.
It's like current politics,
current going, and also how we got here and what always existed to get us here, with Trump and the Clintons and Bush and all that stuff. There it is.
Are you a conspiracy theory guy at all?
No, not at all.
Not at all. I could be. I'm not smart enough to not get swayed into it. Like
I think there are legitimate. The way that the information is put out there, it's just enough, and you got to remember that especially in the last conspiracies are different now, and I mean the idea of the CIA killed Kennedy kind of thing.
Yeah, boom, number one.
There are some things that you can extrapolate and believe in. This idea that, and this book actually goes into it a little bit, that people will dismiss conspiracy with like, well, you couldn't do this thing because 100,000 people couldn't keep a secret. And yeah, they could. Yeah, they could. And again, I don't believe in almost all of it, but I can easily see, without being judgmental or no judgment, why people would believe it. I can. There's some things that are absurd to me, like chemtrails, or there's a secret race of lizard people that replace the royals.
Frogs are gay. Pizzagate. Those ones.
Well, Pizzagate was disproven. I mean, the guy came in.
The guy came in with a fucking gun,
and there's no basement, and they're like eating pizza, going, "What?" There's no.
I'm that guy.
You're the guy with a gun,
and I'll tell you why. I'm not. Maybe I would never take it that far, but I am.
What
the guy.
What about a squirt gun? Take a squirt gun.
Yeah,
pellet gun, BB.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Sort of. Yes.
I've been cheated on in epic fashions. Right, like girlfriend slept with my best friend. Dudes told me about it. Nope, I have faith.
Right. Because you had faith in.
I had faith. Like it's the problem. Like, I mean, I think there's so much to unpack here with me and you, because we both grew up in the South. We both.
Where are you from?
I'm from Florida. I know it's not, but I know you're from Atlanta. And so,
no, but that's no. You're. I love that you can anticipate. That's what Florida and Texas always get. They're like, I'm from. No, this is Texas. This is Texas, not the South.
Florida's different. I used to say I knew two dudes growing up without tongues. So like that's Florida. Tongueless Brett and. So but I when I got cheated on, I have faith that she would never do that. I have that same faith in my wife. I really believe my wife would never cheat on me.
Oh, dude, I have some terrible information. I thought you knew. I thought this was what. Am I?
Oh.
Is this on me?
Oh my God.
You guys told me when I walked in.
You realize how you would watch me unravel? But what I'm trying to say is like
Wait,
that.
I'm sorry. Back up for 1 second. Was this on stage or in a casual setting?
It was on a podcast.
Oh, it's sitting here. So he's
no,
making
not in here. It was at someone else's. And it was just like we were doing a podcast.
What the fuck is that about?
Yeah,
there's no.
I have.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
That's a cheap, stupid cheap joke.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not. That has
I have intimacy issues.
Uh-huh.
I have trust issues. I have like weird, like if I trust you, like
well, at least you're open about it and you're aware of it. That's good.
That is the only thing that's good about me is I am hyper aware of my flaws and I'm hyper self-correcting. But it's because my dad.
Well, that's
good. I grew up with a dad who was never wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I had to learn why I was wrong if I wanted to eat dinner with them because I was the Iraq War broke down and I came home. I was probably 16 years old, and I was like, my energy was so anti-establishment, so hippie, so punk rock, and I was like, and by the way, I'm total meathead, total athlete, but that was my energy. My dad, I was like, fuck George Bush, this is bullshit. We need to protest this war. My dad's like, go to your fucking room. You're an idiot. And when you figure out why you're an idiot, you're allowed to come out of your room. I'm 16.
That's fucking crazy.
And I was like, I don't know why I'm an idiot. And I was like sitting there, but this is what it forced me to do.
Right.
So adversely, I'm a very good partner in a relationship.
Because you got hungry eventually.
I hungry. And so finally I came down. I'm like, I'm starving. Why the fuck am I an idiot? And he goes, you don't understand anything about what Saddam Hussein is doing to his people. You don't have any understanding of why we're going to this war. You don't understand that this is the first time war has been televised, that we can watch the war start together. You have no idea what that's like. My father was in World War II. So it's just, my dad, that's my dad. So I never talk about politics ever because in my back of my head, I hear my dad go, oh, you're a fucking idiot.
But your dad was wrong.
I guess.
You can see that now. I mean, it was simplistic and...
I'm so afraid to say that.
Get your dad in here. Get your fucking dad in here now. If my dad hears this,
he'll call me and go...
Get your dad. I will talk to your dad. I want to do a podcast with your dad.
I don't talk about any politics.
Because that's also shitty parenting.
Well, it's funny, the parenting you have... my oldest daughter's in college now. My youngest is 16. The parenting you had sometimes shows up and creeps into your parenting.
I'm terrified of that. My dad, I don't know how much you know about my backstory. My dad was a asshole, pathological liar. He was never wrong, ever. Nothing was his fault. I shouldn't say he was never wrong. Nothing was ever his fault when everything was his fault. And he never took responsibility for anything. He left when we were young, and he wasn't a good guy. Still alive, but... He's
still alive?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him.
Southern accent?
No, he's from England. He's from England. Yeah, he was the youngest of 5 kids. They came over in 2 different waves, and I think he was 14 or 15 when he came over, and then they lived in the Bronx, and the entire extended family settled in the Bronx and Long Island, and he, I don't know. And then, but how did
he get to Atlanta?
That's a great question. And there's a lot of stuff that my mom, she's in therapy right now. And we had to kind of talk her into going to therapy. And because she's definitely she can't remember a lot of stuff. And I started about 3 years ago, I started writing things down for an eventual memoir. I've got some interesting stories and upbringing and all that. And I would ask her questions, just kind of simpler ones, like timeline type things. Hey, when we got evicted, was that da-da-da? Had I gone to school yet? Do you remember this? And her response is always like, I don't know, and she also got rid of, in a very telling way, we had a bunch of pictures. We were, old school pictures, and my mom, and undeveloped film, and my mom got rid of them. Like, really heartbreaking stuff for me and my sisters, but
How many sisters? Two?
yeah.
And where in Atlanta? I always thought Marietta for some reason.
Not far, Roswell.
Oh, Roswell. I
Yeah.
know Roswell very well. Did you ever do the Funny Farm out there? Probably
No,
not.
when I left,
I meant as an adult. It wasn't there when you were a kid.
No, it was when I go back there, and I'll be back there. I should mention the tour at some point, but
World's Worst Dad?
Say what?
What's it? What is the
Worst Daddy in the World?
Worst Daddy in the World tour.
I'll just say it now.
No, pull up his tour date so we can mention him now, so people know to go see you. You are an absolute fucking legend doing comedy. You are one of my favorite comics, and I got the opportunity to tell you, I'm not getting off track on this story. I'm so bad at it as an interviewer because I end up just having a conversation more like we're at a bar.
I'm bad at an interviewee because I will do the same thing. So,
but I had the opportunity to tell you that in San Francisco, Comedy Central put together a festival, and you were in the green room, and you were doing the theater at one side, and I was doing the event hall in the next, and I had been randomly binge watching you. One of my favorite things to do is take a comic like yourself, who I think we have very, very different styles, and just try to see if I can, now that I'm a better comic, because I've been a fan of yours my whole career, but now that I'm a better comic, to look and go, do I see any tricks? Do I see anything that I'm doing that I go highlight it? Like, it's so funny.
In what way? What do you mean? I don't know. The way that another comic knows another comic is like, oh, I see what you did there.
Like I'm trying to see it, and everything you do on stage is so free and so unapologetic, and just free, and that I can't figure it out. And I ran into you that day, and I fucking literally I was like, oh my God. And I overwhelmed you, and I backed you into your own green room. And you were at one point like, no, thank you. And I could see you making eyes like someone, you didn't know I was a comic. Right. And I could see you making eyes like, can someone get him out of here? And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm in your green room now. And I realized when people do that to me, how aggressive it is. And I was like, fuck, I did everything people do to me that I hate.
I love that you physically backed me.
I backed you into your green room. Because I walked around the corner, and I'm loud, and I'm very, my wife says I cast a large wake. And especially, I know I'm performing, so I know that it's my area. Right. So I'm walking around, and I see you, I go, holy shit, David Kreischer, I just been binge watching you literally that day in my hotel room, binge watching you.
And I think you're some guy off the street.
You think I'm just some guy who's the loudest fucking construction worker in San Francisco.
Well, I hope I wasn't.
You were very sweet. You were very sweet.
Good.
And then I dipped in. You were doing the theater, and I dipped in and watched your set. You had like 30 minutes before I had to go on. So I was just watching your set, and I was like, is he fucking doing new material in the theater? I was like, oh my God, I gotta fucking step up my goddamn game. I go, here I am looking for tricks, and you had your notebook out, and you were just like, everything's brand new and it's murdering, and I was like, I just don't write enough. I don't write enough. Well, and I did my hacky shit next door.
So we might have different approaches to writing, because I am not capable of, I can't do it. Everything I tried when I do it, it's garbage, and I try to approach it every time I get new material, but I can't sit down and write. I can't.
I cannot either.
All of it's written on stage.
I have to write. I can walk for whatever reason. When I moved to New York, when I first started stand up, I could write at the pace you walk in New York was my perfect pace to write. My brain would think very quickly. Yeah,
I'll get ideas. Sometimes I'll just leave. I'll push myself away from my desk. I got to go outside. I got to take a walk, half hour, and just try to, whatever kind of bullshitty new age, let your mind wander and meditate and free, and just try to do that, disassociate with all the other stuff, and see if the thing I'm working on, and it's like I have an idea that a bit that I've done that people like, but it's only half of it a bit, and it's I've been trying for years, and like it was when I start getting new material or putting together a new tour, I've always got material in my back pocket to go to, because the whole set extends. By the time, when I'm halfway through this thing, it's going to be 2 hours long at that point, and I'll have to take some out.
You and I don't know. I'm always skeptical, because I know people say to me, like, I know who your friends are, because they think they know who my friends are, and sometimes I'm like, I don't actually know that guy or like that guy. And I hate to group you into that whole chunk of people when I started that I just was like, the way you guys were doing it was how I felt like I wanted to do it. Like you, Janine, I'm obsessed with Janine. I think
she's amazing.
I think she is like, I watched her right before the 2 days before I moved up to New York. I watched her. She had a joke about, I just love this joke because it's so not a finished thought, but it says so much. She's like, I was making out with my boyfriend in my pickup truck outside my apartment the other day, and I thought to myself, I'm 33. And I just was like, I was like, yeah. And then when I moved to New York, I was friends with a guy named David Wayne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I wasn't friends with him. I had met him in Greece and he gave me his number.
That's interesting.
I know.
I didn't know you both were into musical theater. We got a laugh way over there. That guy laughed in the back. I don't know if you can hear that at home or in your car, but that guy laughed.
And so I played Danny and he played Sandy. Kaniki. And so he invited me to go see Stella. They used to do Stella on like West 3rd or something.
Was that at the Time Cafe below Fez?
Yes, it was the Time Cafe below Fez.
Right in like Astor Place there.
And I saw such a different energy of stand-up than I'd ever heard of. And then I started at the Boston Comedy Club in the Cellar, or Boston Comedy Club, and that was a different energy.
Totally. I mean, yeah, that whole, alt thing came out of that style. It was an answer to that style. Not an answer, but an alternative, I guess.
You were in front of that though in stand-up. You were.
Yeah, just by coincidence. I happened to be part of that group. And Janine was kind of at the forefront, really, and then there were the guys who had a kind of a foot in both sides. Louis and Mark Maron. Could kind of play both worlds.
Yeah.
It was just sort of natural, and it was better. It was better, I wasn't that good at the other style.
So funny. I when I was younger, I thought there were two different styles. And then when I was older, I was like, oh, no, I'm just laughing at funny people. Funny people and being independent.
At the end of the day, that's it. Funny is funny.
Because there were as many Dave Attell, Louis ripoffs in the one side as there were Patton Oswalt, David Cross, Janine ripoffs on the other side. And you're like, oh, it's just people following brilliant people trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and look, I would imagine you had the same experience where the first couple years I did it, I was really trying to emulate my heroes, and it wasn't natural. And it took me years and years and years to get comfortable and then good, and then things that are now intuitive. It took years.
Yeah.
I mean, 590 performances, and when I say performance, I mean, open mic spots and all that shit, and going out and doing a road gig at a country western bar in Fitchburg, all that. It took me all that and eating it hard to get to the place I'm at now.
It's funny because guys who are finding success now are guys that are somewhat ambitious. And when you started, or let me say rather, when I was coming up, ambition was frowned upon. It was like, oh,
really?
Are you the guy? You got a MySpace account. Oh, you're trying to hustle to get fans. But you,
okay, yeah, I see. But by ambition, like self promotion.
Yes,
right.
And now it's commonplace.
Yeah.
But you'd
be a fool not to do it.
I would definitely agree with that. I've only made my career out of self promotion.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is that you were always creating. You were always creating outside of just stand up. Whereas a lot of guys were making their living in stand up, you were always creating outside of stand up.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I got lucky. Yeah.
You think it's luck? I'd love that statement because I would love to hear a podcast about people's luck because I can identify my luck way more easier than I can my hard work. Like those little things that happen in a career. Like I used to say this about Kevin Hart, and I'm friends with Kevin. I know Kevin. I shouldn't say I'm friends with him. I haven't talked to him forever. But I was in a room one time, and they were saying, and I was just gloating on Kevin Hart, and they're like, "Yeah, it's crazy. You got to think of the things that had to happen for him to get where he is. And you're like, huh? And they're like, well, Cat Williams got arrested with a gun in his bag. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, he was on movie timeout because he had done Soul Plane. So like they weren't going to put him in anything. And then Cat Williams supposed to go do Fool's Gold, and he had a gun in his bag. So they arrested him. And they needed someone. And Dave Chappelle was in South Africa. And so they were like, oh, it's Kevin Hart. And I went, what? Like those little.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. And I like little things like that. I go, that's where I'm like, I go, oh, one of the luckiest things ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing an ICM showcases, probably like 98, 99. And a dude named Earthquake was on it. Do you know Earthquake?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, know of him. Yeah.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
And it was all.
Well, he killed 20,000 people in Turkey and Syria. I don't know what that's about. But that guy's got some issues. I'm sorry your set didn't go over that well. You don't need to take it out on. All right.
It's so.
I'm coming up with some dumb jokes, man. Some really dumb jokes.
They're great. So it was all white, young white dude comics, like mean. Mm-hmm. I won't say their names. It was all white dude comics. We're all now working, but all white dude comics.
That's 95% of comedy. So
no women.
Yeah, the way it should be.
99. This is 1999. It's all white dudes and Earthquake.
And for those of you who don't know, Earthquake is a black gay woman comic.
So no one wanted to follow Earthquake. Everyone's like, I'm not going after Earthquake. I'm not going after Earthquake. And so everyone was shuffling, and I was the youngest.
Here comes Bert.
But I was like, and then they were like, Bert's going after Earthquake. So I was new at comedy. And all I knew is I had to
get in there, kid. Trial by fire. Yeah. Get in there.
And all I knew is like an ace in my pocket. I knew that I had a joke about my name, like my name by not being sexy during. And I knew that the joke I used was a black dude's name. Mm-hmm. Call me Quate. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I bet if I use the name Earthquake, it'll go over well. So I was like, I'll go. And so the luck of that draw is I went third in the lineup right after the first white dude ate it. Mm-hmm. Earthquake did better than Turkey. I mean, like really murdered. And then I went up and I said, my name is Bert. I don't talk during sex. Probably my name is Bert. No one wants to hear my name. Bert. And I went, shh. Call me Earthquake. And the room went.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I murdered, and literally the red carpet was rolled out for me. But those moments of luck.
Well. Okay, Bert, that was luck, but you rose to the occasion a very smart way, in a way only you could out of all those other comics. So it's a mix. It's luck, but you had the skills and the goods to deliver and capitalize on the luck.
I know, but I always highlight my luck. Like meeting Rogan was a very big part of like becoming friends with him and doing his podcast at an early age. Mm-hmm. And I always go like, so how did that happen? I whittle it down to Tom Segura was supposed to go to dinner with Charlie Murphy, but Charlie Murphy was taking forever and Tom was waiting for him. And Rogan walked by and he was like, hey man, you're really funny. That's where they met. Mm-hmm. And that's how I met Joe. And I always think those little things like, how did you meet Bob? Did you guys? Because he's been, you and him, I'm not only just, I mean, you redefined the entire sketch model. You put a flag in the ground for alternative voices of all. I mean, literally that show was. I mean, I'm not even talking about the Ben Stiller show, which you were part of, but like that show is Mount Rushmore of comedy. It is.
It's in there. I'll put it up in the. You'd have to carve some more stuff in a Mount Rushmore, but.
Yeah,
if you were able to go around the behind Mount Rushmore and do some, yes, we'll put Mr. Show in there.
You are in the eye of Monty Python, like when Monty Python's eye, you're carved into the eye.
Yes, take a look
of what they're watching coming up behind them.
If you glimpse, look very closely.
Seasons are changing in LA, and there's no better way, especially you live in a community like me where everything is a bike ride, a walk away, maybe a little bit further. There's no better way to get around than electric e-bike. These electric e-bikes transform your trips around town, whether it's to the beach in a carefree fun adventure. You can discover your local area and experience the freedom of the great outdoors, fun, fast, and foldable. These bikes come set up, foldable, and you can throw them in the back of your truck, take them out to the beach. They're freaking awesome. I have 2 electric e-bikes, and we keep them out. Well, I think we have one at the beach, and we have one at our house, and I drive to the new studio in it, and let me tell you, it is crisp. There's no better way to enjoy the outdoors, in my opinion. Whether it's a trip to the store or outdoor adventures, they create a mode of transportation that anyone can ride. Features-filled models can finance as low as $73 per month. Your adventures won't cost a fortune. They have a removable, powerful battery, a bright LCD display, 7-speed gearing, 5 levels of pedal assist to assist your ride. Plus, obviously, you're going to cut down on your carbon footprint, and you're going to keep money from, you don't have to buy all gas. Over 250,000 dedicated riders on the road so far, and they get up to 28 miles an hour with this twist of a throttle or next level pedal assist. You can also add a cargo basket, which Leanne did. She added a cargo basket for like a nice comfortable upgrade, and you can even add passengers accessories to certain e-bike models. They cost way less than the competition, and like I said, they are foldable, they ship free, and they come fully assembled. Start your next adventure with electric e-bikes. Ready, set, spring sale. Visit electricebikes.com to learn more and explore the new Expedition Cargo e-bike and all of the other epic models Lectric has to offer. That's electricebikes.com. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself is a lifelong process, especially you're always changing in life, whether it's getting married or getting divorced or having kids or kids going to college or kids. I remember parenting. I realized it wasn't working for me. I couldn't get it to work. So I was doing what my dad did. I didn't realize that. I realized that once I started talking about it in therapy. I do entirely online therapy. That's why if you've ever thought about doing therapy, you gotta try BetterHelp. Give BetterHelp a try. For me, I realized that what I was doing is I was taking things to a level here, and I wasn't allowing any room for growth because my daughters knew I was showing them worse it was going to get. I was raising my voice and I was acting irrationally and I was getting upset, and the punishments were through the roof. Like, you're done, you're off your iPad, you're off your phone, you're staying home. And they were like, well, why not lie? And then I realized through therapy, and that's the point about therapy, you're always growing and things are changing. And the way you handled it when they were 8 doesn't work when they're 15 and 16. I'm telling you, if you've ever thought about giving therapy a try, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, which I swear by. I swear by because it's based on my schedule. I don't have to wait in traffic. I don't have to wait in line. I don't have to get a parking spot. I don't have to sit in a room and wait to talk to someone. And so that way it's convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to my schedule. And it'll be suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a therapist. You get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Here's the deal. If you've ever thought about giving therapy a try, give BetterHelp a try. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Bert today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bert. Tell me give me a luck story about that. Like a random luck story.
I'll go back.
Please.
So you'd have to go back to Janine, who was kind of responsible in a not a proactive way, but just as the centerpiece, I guess, of introducing Bob and I. So Janine I met in Boston, through the stand-up, which hadn't turned into the alternative scene yet, but was starting to foment, there. And then Janine got pretty successful in that world. She got a lot of, Hollywood attention. She eventually moved out to LA from Boston. And she had done a couple like spots, and people just, and she really was the first person in there with her notes. Her notes are falling down. She did not give a shit. She didn't care how, she dressed the way she wanted to dress. And she literally brought out notes like on a Tonight Show set, kind of like, that kind of did not care. And nobody else cared either, except for like old school comics or like, in their 60s. So then Janine came out and she got on
Larry Sanders?
I think Stiller was first. Wasn't it Stiller then Larry Sanders?
Probably.
So she came out to LA, started doing sets. Everybody took notice very quickly. And then
I'd be curious to know what women were doing stand-up at the time. I'm imagining it's Elaine Boozler.
It would have been. I mean, there was the old school kind of Rita Rudner and Ellen DeGeneres. And that was back in the era. Don't forget, that was back in the era where people did stand-up so they could get on a sitcom, which doesn't exist anymore. And the true stand-ups would get pissed off. Like, you'd see a guy like Anthony Clark. Don't edit that. And you'd see guys like that. Do not edit that. Highlight that and put some reverb on it. A little bit of echo. And you'd see like people like that used to bum a lot of us out. Like, you don't care about stand-up. This isn't pure to you. You don't give a shit. You're using this as a stepping stone. You're never writing any new material. You're getting your solid half hour and that's it. You don't care about performing. You don't care about any of it, the purity, the love of stand-up, and you're just doing it to get on a sitcom, which a lot of people did, and it worked.
He did very successfully.
Yeah, he was the lead in like 2 sitcoms. They both kind of tanked pretty quickly.
He had Yes Dear, he had Boston Common, he had the one where he played a priest with Dan Aykroyd. There was that model, and it was a bummer to watch it.
Yeah,
because and that's when I showed up
as a comic. Yeah,
as a comic, you go
it was
like
a bummer to watch.
You go, oh, I brought my family out, and you're doing the exact same thing, and it murdered. But you were like, oh, I want to see you write. I want to see what else you got. And you guys, I mean, really were the forefront of that, in my opinion. Your generation. Well, we loved stand up. We still do. It's really important. And so Janine must have stood the fuck out when she is not like. So my dad's Italian.
Yeah.
And man, his arms
and
are
she's
tired
also really smart. She's smart and she's gifted in a way. I was going to ask you before when you brought her up, the last time you saw her.
Yeah.
Like,
huge crush on her. Yeah. Huge crush ever since day one.
Everybody did. Everybody did.
By the way, I have great, keep going. I could talk about Janine Garofalo forever. Keep going. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask the last time you saw her, because she's still doing what she does. And I did, I don't know, a couple months ago, this room in New York called Caveat, and she, basically lives down the street, comes down, and I was watching, it was like 15 minutes, and she's just extemporaneously riffing on this. It started as a commercial. This is all off the top of her head.
Yeah.
It's like freestyling. It's like Biggie Smalls' skill freestyle, but with a comic, and also the audience was kind of, the age range was probably like 20 to 50 something, and there were straight, gay, men, women, just all kinds, and everybody was loving it. And I was just sitting there, I've been watching her for decades now, but just jaw dropped at the skill and the how and just funny. And also, like, nobody else is going to come up with that. That's a Janine thought, and that's and just traveling down this thing where, at the end of it, she, was like, "Well, I got to go," and you're like, you take your first breath. You're like, "Wow!" I mean, she was literally out in the audience talking to people, and it just never stopped. There's no downtime. She's kind of a quick talker too, and it was just, I was just, reminded of her unique skills.
I had a brilliant moment with Janine Garofalo. She's obviously, she can say whatever she wants. If I misremembered this, her memory is more accurate, but my memory is spot on. I'm not going to forget hanging out with her. And so we did a CISO taping.
I remember CISO. Yeah.
Yeah. In a warehouse.
Yeah.
No ceiling. The ceiling was maybe 80 feet in the sky. A built set, built backdrop.
This must have been
Montreal.
I mean, that CISO thing collapsed like
it's got to be 2017, maybe 2000. Well, you can tell.
No, before that.
It was right when I got kicked off Travel Channel, so it's got to be 6 years ago at least, almost exactly. And so not kicked off, fired, but
that's kicked off.
Well, yeah, same. Thanks. I wish my fucking wife was here. She's all about semantics. And so we did the show. It was me, John Doerr, Janine, and then a bunch of people that were younger that were like a little more
Exploitable.
Yeah,
Glad to see
probably.
so.
But yeah, yeah. And so Janine went up, I think, first, and I'm telling you from my perspective, absolutely murdered. I mean, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
It was a stream of consciousness rant that went from Teddy Roosevelt to Noam Chomsky to like just, I mean,
to like, and also pop culture stuff.
Pop culture. It was so brilliant. And I'm sitting in the back and you're watching. It's masterful.
Yeah,
it's masterful. And I'm sitting in the back, jaw drops. And like you said, she gets done. And you can tell towards the end, she thinks she's not doing well. And she's she's diffusing it, and then gets off. And I'm like, wow. And I was like, I know she doesn't drink, but I was like, I hope I get to see her somewhere and say how much I liked it. And I went back and she was hanging out in the hair and makeup room by herself, not where the whole party was. And I said, hey, what are you doing? And it's like, I don't know, you don't want this moment, but it's an interesting moment to have as a comic. She goes, I bombed. And I go, no, you're not at all. And she goes, I'm embarrassed. And I was like, what do you mean you're embarrassed? What the fuck are you talking about? I go, Janine, it's CISO.
Yeah, she's got some issues with that.
I go, Janine,
stuff.
You murdered your Janine Garofalo. Like, you didn't see bombing. You didn't see my set. I tried and I bombed. Like, I fucking tried. I did material that works in clubs and I bombed. I go, you're fucking a legend. I go, you should come into the party. And she goes, I don't want to go. I don't like, I didn't do well. I go, Janine, you didn't watch everyone else. You were fucking masterful up there. Please come in. I'm telling you, all anyone wants to do is say hi to you. Please. So we walked into the part. As second she walked in, everyone's like, Janine, you fucking murdered. And you could see her kind of light up. You know, she's never going to accept a compliment like that. But man, that comic, I could watch her eat crackers on stage. She's amazing. Back to the story. I'm so bad at this. She's doing well out here. She's doing stand-up. This is how you and Bob.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry. I'm fucking horrible
No,
at
please. Look, it's having a conversation. That's what it is. We should be in a pub on our third beer at this point. So that's how I look at these things. But
do you still drink?
Yeah, too much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next time we'll have cocktails.
Okay.
I mean, it's early, but unless you want to, if you want to, I will. But if you don't, I don't.
I mean, I absolutely will. But I would do it. You'll have to come to New York.
Yeah.
All right. And I am going to have a podcast. When I get off the road, I'm going to start that up.
Why you don't have one is insane to me.
I'll tell you, and let's keep going off topic. I don't care.
Yeah.
I honestly don't give a shit. But I was talking about this with my wife last night.
Amber Tamblyn.
Amber Tamblyn.
Sister to my traveling pants.
Say what?
Was she in Sister to my traveling pants?
Yes.
I reference that movie so fucking much.
Because you're a huge fan?
No. I saw
one or two.
I don't remember which one. My sister is the one who got me to see it, and then I watched it.
I'm fucking one of those girls, dude. I'm fucking nailing one of those pants girls.
But we have. In random parties with like bachelor parties or whatever, that movie always comes up as like, you should take this shirt. The
brotherhood of the shitty shirt.
Yeah, but keep going. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you're talking to your wife.
We were talking last night. We're about, because I had neglected. This is a problem I have that I don't tell people the things that I'm doing, and it always pisses, especially my family, but. Amber and I were having a drink before going to dinner and talking about podcast. I don't know. I came up and I was like, she's like, hey, how was that idea you were going to have the podcast? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. He's like, what? Oh yeah. When I get off the road, I'll start. It's, who's it with? Headgum. What are you doing? Like all this, I just neglected to tell her that stuff. And then we were talking about, talking like this very conversation that I've had, because I'm out here doing press for the tour. Press is now, thankfully, it's stuff like this. You're not doing 20 interviews, 7 minutes long a piece with local newspapers. You're not doing morning radio. You're not
people
doing
who don't give a fuck about you and don't know who you are.
Exactly.
By the way, I did that this morning.
Yeah,
I did
really?
that this morning.
They still do that?
I still do call-ins every now and then. And so I'm in Grand Forks.
Mhm.
And the guy goes, so say a guy stumbles into your show, what's he going to expect? And I go, I'm playing the arena. I go, not a lot of people stumble into arenas and go, I wonder what's going on in here. Wonder what this is. Holy shit. What the fuck?
Wait, it's only going to cost me $48 to find out?
48? What fucking arena shows are you going to? This is $2 $75 tickets.
Yeah.
We're going to load up with merch. I wonder what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Here's my credit card. I want to take a peek.
I was like, dude, no one's stumbling into this.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what can they expect? I go, tell them to be shocked.
Just tell them to do what you should have done, which is just 3 minutes of research on the internet. It's all out there. Take 90 seconds, dude, and you tell me.
The idea that anyone will walk by an arena and go, I see a line. That human being also
Park. Pull
storms
over.
the Capitol. He's not a thoughtful fucking person. Oh, but yeah.
And would it have the guy react when you called him on it?
He goes,
'Cause that's pretty good. That's a pretty sweet.
Yeah, he goes, well, I don't know. And then he goes, his last question, super important. If there's a biopic about you, who do you want to play you? And I went, oh, that's going to be tough. Now, it's just so we're clear.
There is a biopic.
So I go, maybe Ryan Reynolds. And he goes, interesting. Why Ryan Reynolds? I go, I don't know. I saw some of his work when he was younger, and he did that college movie. I just liked it. I haven't seen what he's doing lately, but that one was good. And he was like, oh, fuck. You guys were the first ones I ever saw acknowledge how bad those interviews were and react in the room. Like, my best friend's this comedian Tom Segura. You probably don't know him, and if you do, don't even mention
Tom?
it. No, you don't know him. You don't know him. He's a fat disabled comedian. No, I'm joking.
That's how I know him, because he's the fat disabled comedian, right?
Yeah.
He stubbed his big toe a couple years ago, and he can't, and it hurts. He cries a lot.
And so he was like, you guys were like, I'm not that guy. I don't like confrontation. So I would a lot of times sit through those shitty interviews and just try to put my best smile on. And Tom was like, you guys, where he's like, I think I'm done here. You guys don't know who the fuck I am, huh? And he's like, no one's doing any, and he would start lighting people up. But you guys, your generation was the first generation that was like, I am not doing these horrible 7-minute fucking interviews.
They're pretty painful, man. Well,
Yeah.
Bob and I used to have a unspoken, I mean, it was spoken at some point, but an unspoken understanding and a rule, basically, when we were doing press, that if it became clear, and it usually, showed itself within 15, 20 seconds, the first or second conversation, or even meeting them before the camera rolled. If the person didn't know us or Mr. Show or anything about it, then we would just lie. And we'd spend the entire, 7-12 minutes just making up crazy shit. And that's their interview. And then they could go to press with that.
That's the
trying to make each other laugh,
Segura used to go in dressed as DJ Dadmouth. And if they didn't know who he was, he would dress as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd go, yeah, I do comedy on the side, but I'm really a DJ. And he'd have and they go, oh, tell us about your DJing. And he would just completely do an interview dressed as a character named DJ Dadmouth, and look at him. And so he would dress like this.
That's great.
And not talk about his stand-up at all.
I fucking love that. I have so much love and respect for that.
Yeah.
Where is that? And these people clearly have no idea who he is.
They have no idea.
Good for him. I love that shit. I've been doing that. I've been doing that.
You guys were the kind of the first, because I don't think it'll never get enough. No one will ever understand it the way it came down. That is just a passerby comedy fan, especially if you're discovering comedy now. But like back in the day, it was like, it was like you played along with radio, and if they were shitty, you ended up having to deal with shitty radio. And you guys didn't do that. But podcasting now, things have changed. You're getting guys like myself who I have somewhat of a following, but I'm a huge fucking fan. So you're getting...
This is so superior. This is so much more fun than what it used to be even, I don't know, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, you do the rounds, you do the Tonight Show. And I was talking because I've been doing this, and I really, really enjoy it because you're having a conversation. We're talking about real things. There's no bullshit.
Yeah.
And and you can go for stretches without, you're not cramming a bunch of jokes into some, somebody who's talking over you, who's not listening to you going, oh, that's great. So here's another thing. Now we got a question from Denitra, and we're, you're like-minded people, and I really enjoy this, and I like talking. I like having conversations, which is why eventually I came to I came around on podcasts. Not that I was anti-podcast, but I was like, you know what? I enjoy this. I like talking. I'm a big drinker, talking in the bar guy. I mean, that is what I'm happiest when I've had a few drinks and it's me and some friends, and perhaps friends of friends who I don't know, who I don't even get along with maybe. And we're at a pub or a bar, and you drink and you're talking and you're changing minds. My mind is being changed. I'm getting edified with information. Like we're getting deep in stories and stuff like that. That's a podcast can be the closest thing to that didn't exist prior to podcasts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love this is really for me. I mean, I'll have guys, I have my friends in, right? Like I've always had my friends in, but they're getting to do this with you. This is a treat for me. Like I get to pick.
You have brain. When I found out I got to drive to Van Nuys this morning, I'm going to go to Bert's house, and I said I want to wait till it's under construction, and so because I was originally supposed to come here when there was not a whole construction crew in here.
It was hard to get these guys in this quick.
I don't know if you can hear it in the background. I don't know how good your equipment is, but there's power saws and drills and they're ripping things up. And I was like, that's what I want to go do is podcast. And I want to drive. I want to come out from New York. I want to get a shitty Airbnb right off San Vicente Boulevard, like literally on the street, where I cannot figure out the heat or the AC. So that like last night, I got up because I woke up and I was like, it's 90 degrees in here and I don't know and I don't see so well and I'm over at the AC unit that I can't figure out, and I go, okay, I think I just turned off the heat, and then wake up an hour later going, fucking the AC's on and it's 61 degrees in here. Jesus Christ. And my daughter's, I don't want to, my daughter's sleeping in the room. I'm like, oh my God. And then getting up again every hour on the hour because I can't figure out the AC in this shitty fucking Airbnb I had to rent. And then get a rental car, the Kia Sonora, I think it is, and drive to Van Nuys this morning.
It's
a dream.
I know.
It's like 9 dreams come true.
What other podcasts are you doing when you're out here?
Well, if you must know,
I'm always curious because my special is coming out March 14th, and I'm lining up podcasts in New York, and I'm usually I would argue, and this sounds very. I'm usually good at finding good podcasts, to be honest. I like podcasts, so I listen to good podcasts. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts. If I could just get on a fucking history, I love history podcasts. I could listen to history podcasts all day long. Do
you listen to The Dollop?
Of course, Dave Anthony. Gareth Reynolds is going on tour with me this weekend.
Oh, right on.
I'm taking with me him because we're going through Wisconsin, and so I'm taking him.
Oh, you were saying you love nonfiction books too.
Yeah, I love history. I love history. But The Dollop's an amazing. I've been on The Dollop a couple times. There's a bunch of great podcasts to do in New York that. Well,
I'm holding you to this. You're going to do mine when I get mine up.
But we
have
to drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I'm a really good podcast guest. I'm a horrible host.
I would not say you're a horrible host.
My initial premise of this podcast,
charming and endearing and real.
My initial premise of this podcast was having people interview me because I know I can carry a podcast.
Interesting.
And it backfired immediately because the first person I did was in a hotel room in Mexico, and it was the bartender of the bar. And very quickly, you got the energy that he felt I was trying to fuck him.
Oh, come on now.
And I was like, oh, no, he was like, I don't, like, you could tell he just wanted to get out of the room. But I was like, no, this is my podcast. How did you
convince him in the first place?
We were drunk, and we were doing shots. I was doing Travel Channel at the time, and it was like right when I was launching this, and I was like, so I'm going to have people interview me because they don't know anything about me. So I was like, would you be my...
I like that idea. I mean, I would, as a viewer, I would like to
I've had a lot of good ideas of podcasts that I just never followed through with. And so then he was like, yeah, I'll do it. It was a Mexican dude, like older. So we get to the room, and then he realizes it's just 2 microphones and an H4n recorder.
Oh, you didn't even have like
I didn't
a
have
camera guy.
No,
or
that cameras weren't the thing then. It was just
Right.
it was me and him, and he was like, "Where's everybody?"
Oh, I totally would have done the same thing. Even if I knew you, even if I was your best friend, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Are you trying to fuck me? Because you don't have to go through all of this.
He's like, how does this get to them? And I'm like, and his English wasn't great. And I was like, no, we put it in here and then I'll post it. And he goes, okay. And he's looking around the room and he just got really uncomfortable. And I was like, all right, I guess that's not going to be my podcast. And so then I love it. I love it. And I love listening to podcasts. I can't wait. You've been on Marin before.
Yeah.
That was a good one. You were on in the early days though, right?
I think I did it a couple times.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty early. I mean, we go way back.
Those ones were my favorite out of all the Marins. And I love what he's doing now. Like, I mean, he's a really masterful interviewer, but when he would have people on that he had beef with and they'd figure out their beef on the air.
Yeah. He's a confrontational by nature. He's confrontational.
Yeah.
But he's also got a wildly vacillating self-esteem issues. So when you combine confrontational with a guy who can swing 180 degrees on whether he's got any value or not, I mean, that is a potent combo. And that's why he's cornered that thing. He's perfect. He's perfect for
You'd
that.
think his stand-up would be better. I thought you'd get that. No, he's got a new special on HBO Max. It's pretty great.
I haven't seen it. I will see it when I go home. It just
I
came
love
out.
Mark. He's been a ball buster my whole ever since.
Dude, you didn't know him when he drank, but because he's been sober for a while. But holy shit, he was awful.
Really,
he was awful. He was a bad drunk, and you take what I just said.
Yeah,
the confrontational and wildly vacillating self-esteem issues, and
From Bleak to Dark is the name of his special. Give him a shout out.
Yeah, great. I'm sure it's great. I'll watch it when I get back home.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an early one. Look at that. Look at that pre-facial hair.
Oh wow, he looks so much better with a mustache.
He looks right with a mustache.
Yeah, he does. He looks better as an old man. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah,
like he looks better.
Look at that.
The young Mark Maron, I don't trust. I don't trust, and I don't appreciate.
You
what
look
he's
at
saying.
that guy going, you're gonna have to go through some shit, my friend.
Yeah, and now he's gone through the shit, and you're like, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
You were saying back in the day when you guys were all young, he was
he was pretty cocky too, but he was good. He was he was one of those guys who had his foot firmly in both worlds of stand-up, where he could go. Yeah, see.
Hey, how aggressive is this? Whose drugs are getting?
That was bad.
Is he? Are they drilling into this room?
Right underneath me, pretty much. Yeah.
This is the next iteration. One day, this whole house is our podcast studio.
Yeah.
So this is my room, and then my wife has a podcast. How does your wife not have a podcast?
You know what? She would be great for a podcast, but she just started a Substack. I mean, she's a writer by nature, and she's a great writer. Has 7 books out now, and when this kind of what was like tertiary kind of stuff from what we normally do, she gravitated towards having a Substack because she's just a natural born writer. I mean,
You think I don't know what a Substack or a tertiary means. What's tertiary?
Something on the side.
Okay.
That's kind of it's not part of this thing, but it is kind of part. It's not a great description, but ancillary area.
And what's Substack?
Substack is a way to self-publish your own stuff. Yeah, it's really great for writers because they, especially like investigative journalists and people who are writing kind of opinion things, because so many papers have collapsed. So many magazines are just not. They're not. We used to have millions of magazines, and now a lot of the writing where you control everything. It's autonomous, and And you put your stuff out there.
How much, this is a weird question, but how much did she change you?
I mean, pretty dramatically, but
Because you seem like you've always seemed to me like a very thoughtful, progressive dude. Just like I've always felt like I don't think anyone in your group, your group of comics, the kind of Boston, San Francisco, LA, UCB, kind of like that world. You guys were always very progressive, thinking-minded people. But your wife is very like your wife's a very thoughtful person.
She is.
And this I only know this from hearing her online and stuff. I don't know her.
She I mean, to go back to the question and then address this, but she changed me because I never thought I was going to get married. I wasn't anti-marriage. I just didn't think I was the kind of guy that was going to get married. But I would say that I was ready to change when I met her.
Yeah.
Like I had way too much irresponsible fun, and I was getting too old for that kind of where it's a little unseemly, and it was time to dial that thing back.
Yeah.
And so I met her, we connected immediately, and we've been together pretty much since we met. And so, I mean, I changed, but I would say that I was ready to settle down.
I was a horrible human being when I met my wife. Like horrible. Misogynistic. Didn't know it. Very misogynistic. I didn't know it. And my wife highlighted it for me. She's like, just giving you a heads up. We're getting you in therapy. And I was like, huh? And she's like, you're a misogynist, but I know that you love your mom and your sisters. And I know how you feel about women, but you're saying things that aren't connecting with that. So like, let's get to the base of that. And so I was
that's
like,
pretty impressive.
Oh, my wife.
What's her podcast?
It's called Wife of the Party. And so
that's a good title.
It's a great podcast. She does very thoughtful interviews. She really like thinks about them and writes down questions. I say stuff like this morning we were laying in bed and I go, what do I talk to David Cross about? She's like, what do you want to know? I go, how much money he has. That's always my fucking question.
Yeah.
I want to know. I did a podcast with Adam Carolla and all he said was, how much money did you lose like when you got fired from Clear Channel? Like that's always my question. But she to this day, I mean, I have changed her. That's a good question. How much have you changed your wife? Because I changed my wife in like, my wife did not know how to fight. Like, because she's a redneck. She grew up in Georgia. And so her thing was like, I'm right, you're wrong, fuck you. You're not pushing me on the couch. Like, that's the way my wife's brain thought, And so I was like, no, we can both be wrong. We can figure it out. We can find a middle ground. We can say we're sorry. She still has a hard time saying she was sorry. But like, I changed the way.
That's so interesting because of your relationship with your dad.
I only learned how to say I'm sorry. That's all I know how to do.
Wow, that's really that's kind of heavy, man.
Yeah, I only know how to say I'm sorry, and I only know how to change my opinion. Dude, I got a new tour bus coming, and I'm getting a Helix mattress. I am so freaking excited for this Helix mattress. Helix mattress, if you don't know, is the mattress. It is the mattress company that it specifies the mattress for you. What you do, this is what we did. And look, there's a lot of copy. I can tell you everything. They have 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models, mattresses for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress made just for kids. But here's the thing you need to know. You go on, you take their sleep quiz. It's a 2-minute quiz. It tells you, based on your preferences, what mattress you'll need. Then they ship it to you, to your door. And I swear to God, I did a video for this. It sets up in less than 2 minutes. I set it up in actually less than 2 minutes. I set it up quicker. They also give you pillows. It is the most comfortable mattress you've ever slept in because it's specified for your body. And here's the deal. They know there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Everyone's unique and everyone sleeps different. That's why they have several different models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and preferences. Models with memory foam layers to optimize optimal pressure relief. If you sleep on your side, that's what I have. And I'm telling you, it helps with your shoulder. That's my biggest problem is I'd wake up and my shoulder would be sore. And I'm like, damn it, what do I have, dead arm? And if your spine needs a little TLC, which everyone's does, they got you. Every Helix mattress has a hybrid design combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. It's the perfect combination for comfort and support. I'm telling you, it's all we have in our house is Helix mattresses, and I'm getting one for my tour bus, and I cannot freaking wait. They are so comfortable. Here's the deal. Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Bert. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts right now. I love when the weather starts warming up, getting out in the yard, digging. I'm telling you right now, as a homeowner, there's no more fun than setting up your backyard. I watch it on Instagram, dudes planting seed. It's the first feeling I ever had as a homeowner. But if you're like me and you love spring, you may not know how to figure out how to take care of your yard. Does anyone else just stand there in the store wondering where to start? I have been there, and that's where Sunday Lawn Care comes in. They are everything you need to get the lawn of your dreams. This spring, go to getsunday.com/Bert and enter your address to get a customized plan created for your lawn. They figure out all the stuff you need, send it to you. All you got to do is enter in your address. No more trips to the store, hauling heavy bags since they ship directly to your home. All you need is a hose to apply Sunday. You can fertilize the whole lawn in less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favorite TV show. And I'm telling you right now, I love sitting in my yard and fertilizing. It is such a rewarding feeling. And they only use ingredients that you can feel good about. No harsh chemicals, no long waiting periods to try to keep your kids or pets off the lawn. Simply apply, let it dry, and you're back to enjoying your yard. Sunday is easy and affordable. Some lawn care services cost more than $1,500 a year, but Sunday's full season plan starts at just $109. And Sunday is offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans start at just $109. You can get 20% off when you visit getsunday.com/Bert at checkout. That's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/Bert. You were, I mean, I hate to bring this up. I don't, and by the way, edit whatever the fuck you want out, but you just did that Salon article that was going viral about you saying like, it's okay to change your opinion.
Yeah.
Dude, I've had audience members change my opinion so often that
Yeah.
I don't even know if I write my material anymore. Like I've had audience members come up to me and go, I don't think you meant to say what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, I think I did. I'm like, no, because what I heard was, you think I'm less than human. And I was like, that's not what I meant. And they're like, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And so yeah, I definitely agree with what you said.
I mean, well, I don't know when I got a thing from my cousin like 3 or 4 days ago that just an email that said, Fox News, what the fuck? ? Exclamation mark. And then I could just see, I saw the headline and I was like, well, I didn't say that. And and I didn't even read it. I just deleted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need to know their whatever selective editing bullshit out of context stuff is. But I certainly know the interview. It was just, I mean, it was like 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I remember very clearly. And I, you know, in that interview, in the original one, I don't know what they selectively pulled out, but
all I read was what they selectively pulled out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like, that's all anyone reads.
If
these
you go to
days.
the, you know, it was like I'm speaking from my experience
We
that
don't need to
I
pull it
had.
Is someone typing this in the fucking screen? Is someone like, can you please change the subject?
Is guys.
I'm giving you a reminder to go back to this.
Oh,
good
okay.
question.
All the questions I've asked that I didn't let him answer.
Yes.
Oh, there's
Okay,
like
yeah.
108 of
Sorry,
those.
how you met Bob? Write down how you met Bob.
Going way back to how you doing.
Yeah. You like baseball?
No, but I remember really clear, and I do have some of the obstinance that I referred to that some of the other comics have. I mean, I used to have a bit about the N-word, about saying the N-word as a phrase, in place of saying the N-word, and how confusing it is, and how I'm not going to do it. And that's something, you know, whatever, 12, 14, 15 years ago, I was like, this is bullshit. It's illogic. And then I think actually the thing had something to do with that the
The
woman
salon
said. Yeah, it was, I don't remember it because it wasn't an important joke. That was the key. It was like, she was really, it was a very civil conversation. She was clearly, a little upset. She was a fan. She came to the show, she and her boyfriend, but she had an issue with this thing. And I sat down. I was like, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And we had a good conversation, and I couldn't defend it. It didn't matter. It just didn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway line. Who gives a shit? I'm not going to do it knowing I'm hurting people just for the, like, fuck you. You can't tell me what to say, what not to say. Actually, you can suggest it. I'll listen to your suggestion. 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to dismiss it and go, here's why I say this. I'm going to continue saying it. But every once in a while, I just couldn't defend it.
Yeah, I've been there so much.
Yeah.
Because I write somewhat irresponsibly, and I talk on stage somewhat. If I'm doing like a club, I'll talk somewhat irresponsibly.
Same here.
And you have to because you never know where that takes you. You never know in that moment when you're improvising or going off on something, or maybe an audience interaction where it gets you there. Totally. I had a young woman in DC that I'll never forget for the rest of my fucking life. Beautiful. And she came up to me at the meet and greet and said, I was an amazing show. I'm a fan. I need you to know that I'm a fan. I listen to your wife's podcast. I got to talk to you about this joke. I didn't like it. And I was like, okay. And so I'm like listening to her. It was very casual, very civil. And as she explained it to me, I went, that is not my intention in that joke. And she was like, I didn't think it was. She's like, you just really work on it if you love it. Or you can also, I think you're better than it. And I went, I'm definitely better than it. And I was like, you're right. And my intention was, I don't ever want anyone to leave my show being like, fuck, that sucked. It ruined my night. Look, everyone can do whatever they want with comedy. You get to do it. Once you get on stage, you get to pick what you want to do with comedy. But my thing with comedy is I want to make everyone feel better. I want everyone to have a good time. I want everyone to laugh. I want to take chances. I want to push buttons. I want to do all the, I mean, I'm not in a rush to be the edgiest guy in the room, but like, I want to take big swings and I'm going to fail. And you need to allow me that width to fail. But like at the end of the day, if you're a fan and you come up to me and you're like, yo, like I am definitely willing to fucking listen. I just read that and I went, oh, I've been there. Most comics have been there.
Yeah, I think most have, and I'm just not going to be obstinate for obstinate's sake.
That is a fool's fucking journey.
And again, I mean, 90% of the time somebody has an issue. My wife sometimes, and I'm like, I'm going to do that joke because here's why, and I explain it. But every once in a while, I try to defend it, and I can't, and then I go, well, I don't need that joke, that throwaway line if it's going to hurt people. Fuck that.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that's kind of cool about comedy is like I'll have a joke like that. I had a joke about Confederate statues. Never made it into a special. I love the joke. I mean, I still think it's a fucking brilliant joke. It's one, like I don't write a lot of jokes, but that one I was like, and I was writing it during the whole fucking June, like the Black Lives Matters marches, and this is not going well. Every time I tried it, and I was like, guys, that's not what I'm trying to say. I told it one time on Two Bears, One Cave, we had to edit it out because Tom's like, oh, and I was like, no, but I know it's there.
I have to hear the joke.
Well, you need so in order to tell the joke, what I figured out about this joke, I had to preface what I was talking about. So do you ever remember the meme of during COVID of the black dude on the edge of the bed? With okay.
Yeah.
So I said, there's
a similarity. I'm seeing a similarity.
Yeah. So I had to tell a joke about that first in order to tell that. That's what I learned in this joke. I couldn't go right into it because people didn't know what I was saying. But I said, people ask me all the time, how do you feel about Confederate statues? I feel the same way about Confederate statues as I do bad tattoos. I feel like I don't believe in their removal. I think we should just cover them up, like put bigger statues on top of them. That way you won't forget your past, but you'll see your future. You'll see where you're going. For instance, father and son are walking through a park in Alabama. Son's like, yo, Dad, what's that statue? And he goes, that statue, son, reminds us of the 2020 coronavirus. That man's name was Wood. And he reminds us, it's a very popular meme that was passed around. And he reminds us of a time when it was us as a country against the virus and not us against each other. He goes, son, you know what's really fascinating? If you look very deep into his pubic hair, that's Robert E. Lee on his horse. And so I worked it. It's, by the way, it never made it into a special.
If you hadn't prefaced it, I would have had no fucking idea what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But you prefaced it, and that's a good joke. And it's written. That's like a joke.
Yeah. I don't do a ton of jokes. And so, but I had to do another joke, which made my special, in order to tell that joke, and I had to figure that out. And I was doing this chunk about Nick Cannon because I thought it was funny. I was like, I think if we're learning anything right now, in the media and on social media about race relations, as white people, we just need to do our part and listen. For me, I've been watching a lot of Wild and Out, and then that was throwing people off. So like, you slamming Wild and Out. I was like, what's sad is I was watching a lot of Wild and Out, and I was like, and if you learn anything from Wild and Out, it's better when the white guy doesn't talk. And so, but it was like, so all these things, but these are all things that, if not done in the right sequence, if not done in the right order, they come off wrong, and you got to figure those out. And I think what I find now is I don't think I've been in front of a lot of comedy audiences that aren't willing to give you that breath. Was it breath with? What is it?
The space, the time,
Yes.
well, that's to me, that's that should be understood by the audience. I would hope that it's understood by the audience that when you're doing a set somewhere, when you're doing working material out, you get to have all those mistakes. When you go out on tour and you're like, okay, we're going to pay a lot of money to get a babysitter and come down here. This is your night. And you should have that set ready to go.
Figured out. There shouldn't be a lot of big mistakes in that.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a lot of big mistakes. So, and the those kind of incidences I've had are when you're working material out, because you have to work it out.
You got to figure it out.
And like, the experience you just described, like, you don't know if that's good and if it's not good, why it's not good until you do it.
Yeah.
So you hope people give you the leeway.
Yeah. I always get skeptical when anything written these days always rubs me wrong. Cause I go, well, what did the whole thing look like?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was my whole thing. But yeah, what's interesting is you do get people. It's like you are one of those guys that Fox News goes, oh, he's the left.
Yeah.
And I always go, he's just a comic.
Yeah, and they kind of ignore. I've pissed off plenty of lefties, and this will.
You think? I don't think anyone that listens to this is coming for politics.
Oh no, I meant the thing that the Fox thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they tend to conveniently ignore some stuff that I'm kind of definitely way more people on the right. My last special, the I'm from the Future, goes way into the anti-mask, anti-vaccine folks, and there's a
part of you I always thought that you like to tickle the people, you like to tickle the bullies.
Oh yeah,
does that make sense?
Well,
I think all comics should tickle bullies until I think that's part of comedy.
It can be, and it's certainly part of my stuff, which is again, why I want to be sensitive to. I don't want to punch down. I want to punch up. And I've done plenty of things where I know I'm pissing everyone off, like everyone. Where 2 tours ago, I had a signal with my tour manager, and if I asked for a certain beer, like there'd be in my rider, I'd have 2, a lager and an IPA, and if I asked for the IPA, by the brand name, then that meant because usually whatever that meant that there's no encore. Put my stuff by the side of the stage. I'm not kidding. And I'm running to the bus or running to the hotel because my safety is, I'm
Really?
feeling weirded out. Yeah, I had some issues,
For real?
Yeah.
That fucking pisses me off.
I had a security guy. This is the last tour I did. Oh, come on. And I was in Pittsburgh. I was at the Carnegie Mellon Theater.
Yeah, it's over by the campus. It's really
Holman
beautiful.
Hall or something like that. Or
it's beautiful.
It was a great room. I played
It's
it
a beautiful
couple
room,
times.
but it's right. There's gorgeous parks right around there. It's fucking absolutely
It's
beautiful.
like kind of on a hill.
Yeah.
And it's I've always had good shows there. And sometimes they just assign security. I didn't ask for security, but occasionally the theater has a guy. And so there's a guy in the, classic black windbreaker with security in white on the back. And there's one guy on either side of the stage. And I hadn't had any real issues on that tour. And then I'm very specific about sequencing, which I think a lot, and you kind of alluded to it before, but it's really important. Sequencing is an unknown thing that like the fan wouldn't really think about, but it's really important. And I always do like 20 minutes of kind of nothing up front, except obviously I didn't do that in I'm From the Future, but which has Holocaust stuff from the very beginning. But it was, kind of benign little stuff, nothing, cutesy little things. And before I get into the heavier stuff, and I'm less than 2 minutes into Trump stuff, and the security guy on my left, stage left, is like, "This is fucking bullshit. I quit." And takes his jacket off and throws it. And everybody thought it was a plant because the way it came in the show was perfect. And people were really confused, totally thought it was a bit as he went up. And it was one of those things, the theater door. So he's kind of backlit once the door closes, and it's like kind of darker, but you can see him and he's yelling. And he's like a cameo of this guy going, and everyone, for a minute, everyone thinks it's a bit. And how's it going to pay off? Is this guy going to come back? He's a plant. Because I've done that before. I've had shows where I have plants in the audience. And then telling people that it was real, they still didn't believe me. And it was just the weirdest hiccup in a show. It all worked out great. It was really, because then people came around to starting to understand, like, oh, that really happened.
Yeah.
The security guy, the guy who's supposed to protect you from the people who are going to throw things at you.
I had a security guard who could not. It's happened to me mostly with like deaf people. So I had two jokes about deaf people, and if you would think I'd planted them. You would think I'd fucking planted them. I wish I had that much.
Tell me.
I had this chunk about it's on my new special, so I don't want to go into it, but it's about deaf people, and one of the security guards was deaf, and there was a signed person signing, and the security guard was watching the signing person, and the signing person was going back and forth, and I'm like, oh fuck, our security guard's deaf. I was like, how are they gonna hear anything coming? Like, what are they gonna fucking just? So you're watching her, so if you're watching her, I'm fucked. And then I'm saying this, and then they're saying it, and then the woman starts looking at me, and I'm like, motherfucker. I've had every fucking shit show. Because I'm not a very thoughtful meaning, I'm thoughtful for people, but I don't think out life very far ahead in advance. So I often get myself into situations. Yeah, I've had security guards going, I'm not protecting you.
Yeah.
I had one in. I had a joke about my dog being Mexican. It's an old joke, but our oldest dog we adopted from the barrio.
So didn't speak English.
Well, we didn't realize that. We didn't realize that until we got her. She's like, the dog doesn't fucking listen. And then we had this yard guy who's Mexican, and he said, "What's her name?" We said Mona, but she doesn't pay attention. He goes, "Oh, what did he say? Siéntate, monita." And she just sat. And we're like, she speaks fucking Spanish. And it's obviously, if you fucking have a dog that grows up around Spanish people, they're not going to go out of their way to speak English to them. Right. Sit. They teach them how to fucking speak Spanish. And so I call my dog a cholo, and this dude he was like, I will not be protecting you. Wow. Fuck you, you're racist. And I go, first of all, part of me is like, is cholo a bad word? I was like, I thought it was regular. I thought I didn't know that was a bad word. And I was like, fuck, do I need to change? I go, I've already recorded this special.
I didn't know it was a bad word.
Yeah.
I mean, in a like, that kind of way.
Yeah. Don't fuck. Are you in San Antonio?
No.
Okay. Well, you're safe.
Why? What? Don't say cholo?
Or don't bring up Selena.
Well, there goes my Selena charm.
So wait, how did you meet Bob? So finish me. I got to get you out of here. I don't want you to have to do this too long. By the way, I can do this with you forever. Okay. I got to be honest.
I'll come back. We'll do it part 2.
We'll come back. We'll
answer all the.
We'll have cold beers. I'm dying to talk to you about what drinks you enjoy. I'm dying to do your podcast. When do you start your podcast? Do you know?
I'm gonna be out on tour for
until April. I saw. Right?
No. I'm gonna be out until.
Pull up his tour again.
Well,
you have Sean Patton on some of your shows.
Yeah, Sean's opening.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
Dude, Sean is a gangster, and
I fucking love that guy.
I love that you put with special guest Sean Patton.
Yeah.
Dude, Sean Patton is a legit theater act on his own. That guy's new special is phenomenal, and he is the funnest, top 5 funnest hangs in the world. He's brilliant on stage.
There's a reason I asked him to do it, and I really, I try to,
Jesus Christ. Wait, go through these tour dates. Let's take a second. Go up to the top. So when does it start?
This is the first leg. It starts March 2nd.
Okay, so that's fucking Revolution Hall. That's a great fucking room.
Yeah, most of these are really good rooms.
Oh, I love that you're starting the Portland, Seattle, Vancouver run. Is like the best. That's the best way to start off a tour, in my opinion. Are you doing a tour bus?
No, unfortunately, and I've been dealing with trying to figure out plane routing and stuff, but because of my daughter's in school now, the old tour, she went on tour with me. I mean, we put a pack and play in the tour bus, and she was on tour. It was me, my wife, the nanny, and tour bus, and we did. I did like 4 months out on the road.
How fucking great is that?
It was great. And now because she's in school, and I don't want to be gone for 4 months straight, which is a better way. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Just get out there. And so I'm only out for like 3, 4, 5, 6 days, and then back for 4 days. So mostly doing weekends, but there's so much of this. Well, there's no direct flight from Columbia to Omaha. So we need to fly into Cedar Rapids, and then it's a 7 a.m. flight, and then we'll connect here, and then it's a 2-hour drive. And so there's a lot of that shit.
Terry, are you doing you're doing the egg in Albany? Have you done the egg before?
I have not.
Good luck. Terrytown,
really?
It's that I don't like I'll just say this: if you're going to see David at the egg, pack alcohol in your pockets. They have a 2-drink minimum.
What?
Yeah.
Oh wait, 2-drink minimum.
Maximum. And so a lot of the big complaint I got when I did the egg is people
I've
were
never heard of that.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful.
Who the fuck has a 2-drink maximum?
The egg in Albany. It's the reason I don't do the egg anymore because.
Well, that's
so here, guys, just listen. If you're doing it, get little baby bottles of Jack or little baby bottles
or flask, plastic
flask. Little flask, but make sure you take care of yourself. Get your wife. If your wife doesn't drink, get her to order 2 beers. Right. That's what I do normally, and that's also what Ric Flair does. Oddly enough, I'm sitting next to Ric Flair.
I don't know Ric Flair's drinking schedule.
Sitting on a plane next to him, and we're taking off on a Delta flight, and he's with his wife, and I'm with mine. And the lady comes by and goes, "Can I get you a drink?" And Ric Flair is a big drinker. He's like, like kind of steps in front of the line. He's like, because we're sitting. He goes, you know what? Good call. Wasn't talking to him, but he goes, good call. Hun, what are you going to take? You want a Bloody Mary? He goes, yeah. He goes, double Bloody Mary for her, double Bloody Mary for me. Good call, hun. And then I was like, oh, cool. And then he goes, can I get you something? I said, baby, what are you going to get? Do you want double Jack on the Rocks? She's like, double Jack on the Rocks for her. And you know what? I guess I'll take that too. So we both order for our wives, drink their drinks, and then drink our drinks. And I'm like,
oh, you sussed it out.
Oh, I know. I already do that.
Yeah.
We both do it identically, independently of each other. We drink. We take.
And
our
it wasn't
wives.
even your wife. You were pointing to a stranger.
Yeah, it was. By the way, I think it was Stacy, my producer. To be honest with you, Tarrytown, New York, Buffalo. I want to go through your tour dates so everyone can hear them, because if they're listening, they know
Okay.
you're coming to your city. Iowa City, Omaha, my fucking favorite city.
Yeah, I'd never played that until the end last thing on the last tour, and it was amazing. And I walked in, I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. I don't know. And you know how we still make that stupid mistake of prejudging an audience, where even after 30 plus years of doing this, and I'm like, this is not gonna be a good show, or oh, this is gonna be a great show. It's not, or this is not good. And it was top 5 shows. Omaha was great.
Can I tell you why that changed? I love telling you this because you've been out of the loop on this.
Yeah.
It's because of podcasting. Because people who drive to work listen to podcasts. And the number one podcasts are comedy podcasts. So all of a sudden you have these people who normally would have been morning radio people, although Todd and Tyler are still really big in Omaha. So like Canada,
I did their show.
Todd and Tyler,
yeah,
they're amazing.
They were great.
They're
They were
amazing.
totally
They're
cool.
amazing. But these podcast cities, there's podcast like Ohio, huge podcast territory.
That's great to know.
Because they listen to. So you'll hear people listen to this right now, because I did my special in Omaha. Because
I loved it. I mean, that was I really, there's no reason for me to lie or exaggerate.
Yeah.
It was top 5 shows. That was a tour that had 100 dates on it. And I loved it. They were amazing.
Those cities, you'll find a lot of those cities, and adversely, I have found that some places in like Alabama, Mississippi, for me are harder to sell because and I think you'll understand this growing up in the South, those windy roads, you lose connection on your phone. So they're not, they don't get connection the same way you would in Omaha where it's flat. They don't ever lose connection. It's really,
It's interesting.
I would love to see like a Malcolm Gladwell book written about, because there are these towns like Omaha that are huge comedy towns. And it's also, the Omaha Funny Bones have been very big, very supportive of comedy. You get cities like that where Sacramento had just such a hotbed of comedy at a certain time. Same with Boston. Same with like Austin now is a big hotbed of comedy. But Phoenix, Arizona, Sacramento, God, I love fucking shows in Sacramento. San Francisco, I wonder how many shows you're going to add to that. Los Angeles, San Diego, Austin, Texas at the Paramount. What a beautiful
theater.
Are you a cigar guy?
No.
Okay. Great place to go on the roof, have a cigar.
Can I go on the roof anyway if I don't have a cigar?
Yeah, you can.
Can I just get like a Frito pie thing?
White Oak Music Hall in Houston, Texas. Dallas, Texas at the Texas Theater. New Orleans at the Joy Theater. God, I fucking love New Orleans. St. Louis, Chicago, Knoxville. Knoxville is a great, man. You know what I think is cool about your tour?
What?
Is like the comedy, like you get all types of comedy fans, but you also get kids like yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I if I'm, the thing I always remember, and I would imagine you have kind of the same type of thing, is, the road it's fucking grueling. It's hard, and you gotta, and I drink a lot, and I'm not very responsible that way, and sometimes, you have to bring it. You're not feeling it. And it has nothing to do with the audience, but, you go out and sometimes it's depending on multiple factors. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's the audience, sometimes it's the room, sometimes it's acoustic, whatever. It's just not working. It's not like clicking, and you can phone it in. You know how to do that. You've done it enough. Not you, but one.
I do too. Yeah. But we all do.
But I have, when I'm out on the road, I always, if I start to feel like that, like before I go out on stage, or even if in the beginning, I always imagine, I know that there's a kid up in the balcony, and it's his first show, and he's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and he saved up, and he's a big fan, and I came to his town, and it's kind of a big deal for him to get tickets, and he's up there, and I don't want to disappoint that kid, and because I was that kid. I was that kid, and so I always bring, if I start, my mind goes there, I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing this for that kid up there. I don't care about all y'all. I'm doing this for that kid who's up there, I'm doing this for him.
Isn't it crazy that, like, not to get too fucking big and mythical about it, but like starting at the age you started at and having kind of like just deciding to go like, fuck it, I'll go to New York, fuck it, maybe I'll roll in college, fuck it, I'm getting out. The comedy kind of not saved your life. I don't think you would have been a drug addict, alcoholic, but think about how comedy gave you a fucking beautiful life
and a road to travel down. You know, like it was. I remember having a girlfriend when I was living in LA, and I mean, we would have been 30 at this point, you know, late 20s, and she didn't know what she wanted to do. She was kind of bouncing around, like she was doing production work and then, you know, dabbling in little things, and she was 30 basically, and didn't know what she wanted to do in life. And she was awesome. She's but like I'd known what I wanted to do from a young age, you know, the kind of idea. And I felt, you know, not in a superior judgmental way, but I just felt really bad. Like she's going to go through life. She's going through life. She's you know, a third of the way through life and had no idea what, I don't know, maybe a gardener? Nah. Real estate? I don't know. Travel agent? I don't know. Like just doesn't have that thing that I feel lucky to have had.
Mother's Day. You're thinking, what do I get my wife? What do I get my mother? What do I get any woman in my life? My mother, my mom. I'm telling you what I've gotten her. I've gotten her every single year is a skylight frame because it is the best present you can get. Skylight frames are a great way to feel close to everyone you love when you're far away. Anyone in the family can send photos to this frame, so it's a great way to keep everyone in the family in touch. It sets up in under a minute, and I'm telling you, if my mom can set it up, your mom can set it up. It looks like a real photo frame and adds a beautiful touch to your house. Skylight frame has gorgeous 10 or 15-inch touch screens. You can swipe through all the photos at your fingers. You can tap a heart button if you like it. And you can let the senders know you love a photo, which makes the frame interactive and fun to use. We have one almost everywhere in our house, but in our kitchen, it's beautiful because it just scrolls through pictures of your life all the times. And every now and then you'll be like, look how beautiful Georgia was or is. Never mind, that came out wrong. Keep it in. Look at how young we were, Leanne. Look at Isla. I loved when she didn't have braces. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't love your skylight frame, they're going to give you a full refund. Preload it with your favorite photos for a special Mother's Day gift. Surprise them with the photos they didn't even know you had. I'm telling you, my mom loves it. My dad loves it. I have my sisters. We gave it to our friends. This is the gift. If you're looking for a gift, this is a gift. Now, as a special Mother's Day offer, get 10% off up to $30 off your frame when you go to skylightframe.com/Bert. That's right. To get 10% off up to $30 off your purchase of a skylight frame, just go to skylightframe.com/Bert. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/Bert. I love going to events. I love going to sporting events, whether it's concerts. I love eventizing life. The problem is I'm not home all the time, so I don't really know my schedule, so I can't really plan for stuff. I have in the past, like the Doobie Brothers are coming up, and I don't know if I'm going to be there, and I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a ticket if I'm not going to be there. Here's what's great about Game Time. Buying tickets for your event shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best prices guaranteed, so you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. It's the most fun is texting the group and going, hey, guys, I got tickets, even if it's last minute. When it's last minute, it's even better sometimes. Game Time is a place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance, which is nice. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball. Dude, baseball. Baseball is a last-minute option, and it's great to get great seats for your family. It's the fastest-growing ticket app in the country for a reason. You buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, you're set, and the tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you'll never have to dig through your emails. Snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account using the code BERTCAST for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BERTCAST for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Oh, I feel so lucky that I found it so early. I found out I wanted to do comedy at 25 and then going, oh, that's my thing. That's it. Like, that's the only thing I ever want. I don't care about anything else. It's such a gift, and I think it's cool. I always think it's cool because, like, I don't get a ton of young kids, but you've always drawn, like, I mean, I think your comedy has always drawn like this great, like, for lack of better words, like a comic book scene, like almost like a record club scene, like people who still get vinyls, like kids who are like my daughter Isla is your fan base. Like, she's the one who pulled me aside and is like, have you ever seen this Mr. Show? Like,
Really?
Are you being serious? And she goes, Dad, it is hilarious. And I'm like,
well, that's great
like
to hear.
It? Oh yeah. Oh, they discovered Arrested Development. Arrested Development. By the way, I didn't even talk about all the great, amazing shit you've done in your career. All the like, I mean, I'm talking like Christine, I've known Christine forever, but like, we were friends when Arrested Development showed up on the scene. And to be in a friend group where you discover a show like that, you'll never get the joy of seeing Arrested Development for the first time, where you like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What the Jason Bateman? When the fuck, like this? You gotta remember, he hadn't done anything. We're like, Jason Bateman? Who the fuck's this kid? Michael Cera?
Yeah.
Like, this fucking, it was so much fun to discover that show and then be like, oh, I know what we're watching. I mean,
and it wasn't rated. I mean, not a lot of people watched it when it first came out. So you guys were part of a very dying experience of like, oh, nobody knows this except us. Like, that was pre-stream and
pre-internet
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it was time like right when Facebook and MySpace were out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't out there. I mean, it was like, it was kind of the last era where people, you could have that experience. Like, have you seen this? Because nobody knows about it. And
yeah, and Georgia and Isla discovered that over the summer. They discovered it, I think, maybe on Netflix, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah. Well, it's about to go off, actually, the whole thing.
And so they discovered that, and then Isla, now Georgia's at college, and I guess Georgia must have been with her friends, and they discovered Mr. Show and sent it to Isla, and Isla had a clip. I forget which one it was. I forget which one it was. I don't want to do a disservice, because then Isla will be like, that's not one, Dad. But it's like, it's crazy that for whatever reason, your comedy's connected with these kids looking for something, kids looking for comedy, it's
and then they find all the other stuff. And one cool aspect of my stand-up is that my audience has grown with me, but then I'm always getting new, younger folks in there as well.
That's the fucking key.
So it's pretty cool. So if you go to a show, there's the age range is like 20 to 55, like
I get boys predominantly in high school, right when their testosterone's kicking in. And I get them as a parent now. I realize I'm getting them for the reason a parent doesn't want. Like, as a parent, you shouldn't want your kid to.
Because you're saucy?
No, because all my stories are about crazy fucking stupid shit I did.
Right.
Like getting involved with the Russian mafia. Whereas a kid, I remember we had a friend whose kid snuck out in the middle of the night, and he fucking took an Uber. He was like fucking 13, took an Uber down to Santa Monica and met up with this girl. And it was like this crazy fucking story, right? At 13 and during the pandemic. And I go, buddy, what the fuck were you thinking? And he looks at me in his eyes and he goes, cool story though, right? And I'm like, oh, no, I fucked up. I fucked up big time, guys. This isn't the whole thing. You're not supposed to take acid and go to Disneyland. You're not supposed to eat mushrooms and hold on. Oh, I might have fucking been telling you guys the wrong message.
Now that you're a dad,
Once you're a dad, you start looking back at these stories. You're like, don't fight a bear. Don't swim in open water with sharks. Fuck. Do not get involved. If you study abroad, do the work. Learn the language. Have fun with your friends. Don't go outside your school.
My daughter will eventually, I've just said some terrible, awful things, and I've done, I found myself, my crack stories are out there, and just going to hear a heroin story and I can't take it back. They're out there.
They're out there. Oh, the things I've said about my daughters on podcasts and on specials, I've just trashed them.
Well, this new tour, it's not, I don't, less than 30% of the hour and change is about having a kid, but the stuff that is about having a kid, about my daughter, is pretty, it's pretty harsh.
That's fucking great. All right, I'm gonna get you out of here. How did you meet Bob? Tell me. Finish. We gotta finish
Oh
one
my God,
story.
really?
One story.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the quick synopsis. So I met him. First through Janine Garofalo when the Stiller show hadn't happened yet. I had gone out to LA to visit and probably tried to do sets and see what was out there, whatever, from Boston, and met a bunch of Janine's friends, Ben Stiller, and went and had drinks with them, and then and she said, yeah, I was like, I want to play some basketball or something. I played a lot of basketball back then. She's like, okay, I have a friend, Bob, who's really, really funny. And I think you guys would hit it off great. And she had a basketball at her, I guess her roommate played basketball. So I picked up the basketball. It was in the Melrose, Hollywood area. So it was like, 3 blocks around the corner. Go up to his house. He had a screen door that was closed, but his door was open, meaning you could. So he's in there. He's watching TV with the TV. So as you walk up the steps, the chair was facing the TV, which we're behind him. In other words, we're seeing the back of his head. And Janine raps on the door. He's eating like a bowl of tuna fish or something. Hey, Bob, my friend David is in from out of town. He's really funny. He's from Boston, and he was looking to play basketball. If I think you guys would hit it off. And all he did was this. He just turned like, you're me.
Yeah.
No. And then turned back to watching. And you got to hear Bob tell the story because his memory is the same, but he also he owns up to his shittiness. And then I met him, several months later on the Ben Stiller show. I was brought in as a writer replacement mid-season. So I came in halfway through and he was a dick to me, not actively, proactively a dick, not just and I was a fish out of water. I had no idea how fucking Hollywood worked. I didn't know anything about the West Coast or Hollywood or TV or any of that shit. And I came in with my cocky ideas of what pure comedy is and whatever the fuck, and he just wasn't helpful at all. And again, you have to ask him because
That's great.
He totally owns up to it. And he was, but then being part of that scene, that burgeoning scene that is now we know what it is, but at the time it was just sort of happening and there was no word for it. And we had all these mutual friends, like really talented, cool people. We'd, doing shows for each other, and everyone was always partying. Every weekend there was a party somewhere, and we were at.
God, I would have been a fly on the wall to see those parties back then.
They were great, and also everybody's fucking each other. Like any kind of creative scene like that when you're young. I mean, we were in our 20s, or late 20s, early 30s, whatever. But and then we were at a party at Laura Milligan's, where I think Janine had a room. There were like, it was a house, and there were like 4 comics who shared the house. And one of those parties, and then we were in the kitchen, Laura Milligan's kitchen, and we ended up, Bob and I riffed this thing that became I don't know the name of the sketch, but it's one from the first season, the pots and pans, and he's the British Ernie, the British guy who's like, have you ever, the infomercial thing. I'm whatever. And then he ends up hitting Jill Talley, beating her with a pan, whatever. And he's like, and then he jumps out a window and he's like, British people can fly, and all this crazy shit. And then, but we riffed that, and it became very apparent very quickly in a way that's very rare, but when it happens, it happens. And you can kind of, it's akin to having a a spark with a woman, you know,
Mhm.
where you make that connection and everything you're saying is kind of you're totally on, and I don't know why, but everything I'm saying is landing and she's going with it and she's great and there's a connection there. So it was like that without the sexual part, but with the comic part where we started with this thing and ended up listening to each other and telling this going on this sketch journey thing that was just bonkers and crazy and cracking each other up and making everybody else laugh. And then from that point forward, it was like we just became friendlier and there was just a thing there.
It's crazy.
And now we're like best friends and,
I love that. I love the idea that had you not gone to that party,
there you go.
you maybe the tension, but you walked in like even the smallest thing, like, oh yeah, I smoked a little weed that night, and then that you can never discount that smoking weed doesn't give you the greatest things in the world. You know, like I love that. That's how I believe in the world. That's what I hang my hat on at the end of the night.
You got to smoke weed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I just believe that if you don't show up, it doesn't happen.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
All those people that go, I'm not going out tonight. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? You're missing out on all the
How many
opportunities.
great stories have started with like, I don't know, and you get talked into it or something. And then, it ends up,
My
17, 18 hours later.
My wife, I met my wife playing bowling and I thought she was cute. But I was definitely misogynistic. I thought any woman that would pursue it. I thought all women were whores at that point. And so I thought any woman that pursued a dude, because the Sex in the City made it seem like all anyone wanted to do is have sex. And I wanted to fall in love.
That's the most Florida thing I've ever heard.
And so I believe that if a woman pursued a man that all they wanted to do is have sex with him and then just have the next guy, and then I didn't want that. So I was like, I was like, I'll just work on myself, And but I wasn't working on myself. I was just trying to lose weight. And my wife gave me her number and I didn't call her. And then she called my old roommate and said, "The fuck's wrong with your friend?" He was like, "He just walked in the door. Do you talk to him?" And I was like, "No, I'm not here.
That's great.
And then she was like, if you ask me out, I'll go. I was like, "Do you want to go out for a date?" And she was like, "Yeah." But I just didn't. If she hadn't said that, I would never have found her.
And what part of Georgia is she from?
A small town called Bowden. You know where Carrollton is?
Is that south?
West Georgia?
Is that southwest?
I think so, yeah, compared to Roswell. And so it's out on the 20, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, not too far. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so she but yeah, it's funny, it's funny when you start comedy, there's a few people that you connect to and because I think you were from Atlanta and I knew all my friends moved to Atlanta, Georgia after graduation, and like Tom Rhodes was from Tampa. Todd Barry was from Florida. Brian Regan was from Florida. You kind of find the people you go, oh, if I run into them, I'll be able to go like, oh, we're in Roswell. You know, whatever simple-minded thought. It's been an absolute honor to have you on the podcast.
Oh, man,
I'm
my
such
pleasure.
a fan. I've been a fan. I'm a lifelong fan.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed
everything you do
tremendously.
Next time we'll do it, we'll have cocktails.
Yeah, you're going to do mine when I get it up and running.
Wait till you see me as a guest. I'm so good.
I'm sure.
I'm so much better than a host.
Yeah, you'll have to come along too and just have all the stuff ready to go.
Christine's roughly my age, probably a little younger. So for all our experiences in comedy, you guys are, like I said, for lack of a better word, are around Mount Rushmore. Like you guys were the ones that kind of put it out there. And despite the path I took in comedy, I never went like, I was never in the alternative scene, but like the guys that made me giggle the hardest, and I would say, Attell, obviously number one.
Yeah.
Louis, all the greats, but like your scene was so fucking fun, and you guys put out such cool shit.
We had so much fun, man. I mean, it was just years and years of running around, especially when in New York. I mean, just running around, drinking, having fun, making each other laugh, and putting on shows with each other for each other.
That's what it always felt. I would sit in the back at what was it, Luna Lounge?
Yeah, Luna.
Sit in the back of Luna Lounge and watch you guys. I remember watching. I think it was Michael Showalter one time read a letter he had written to his girlfriend at camp, breaking up with her, or she was breaking up with him.
Right.
And boy, I was like, he's not doing this to get a sitcom.
No,
it was so the difference of what you saw at like at like the comic
The
strip.
comic strip. Yeah, or any of those things. Did you ever see John Benjamin doing? Because he would host and put shows.
John
together,
Benjamin is one of the funnier dudes in the world.
and ballsy as hell, man. Super ballsy.
Eugene Merman just put out not just, it was probably a while ago, but put out a doc about a bunch of people doing stand up. I fucking wish I could remember it. I just
it was his the Eugene Merman Comedy Festival.
Yeah. He just put out that, and so many people in there. I'm like, fucking. That was the one thing that would blow me away. Is there was a place called it was either Collective Unconscious or
there was a place called Collective Unconscious.
There was another one around the corner that a guy named Face Boy ran. I forget. He but I remember watching a dude in a Klan outfit.
Wait, not Neckface. Was it Neckface, the graffiti, the tagger?
No.
Okay.
It was no. I never even got to talk to you about the Beastie Boys. There's so much. You have no idea, man. Wait till I get you drunk.
Okay.
I feel like we're on a date. Wait till I get you drunk. No, I watched a dude. This was what I loved about. This is the thing I loved, and I couldn't do it at the time. I didn't know what I was doing. I think I was closer then to who I am today, but still, I never really fit in Collective Unconscious and Luna and what was the other one that was on Sunday nights? Face Boy ran it. Anyway,
I don't know that one.
This dude walked in a Klan outfit, like, bring him up. He's in a Klan outfit, and he was just doing material, but it was hacky material, and he was like, "What is?" And then all of a sudden, he breaks character, and he's crying, laughing. He goes, "You have no idea what I've gone through to get this fucking outfit," and he's in a Klan, and the room is crying, laughing. Yeah. And by the way, it's one of the things that I don't think will ever be maybe understood. It's a nuance, is that in no way was he being racist. I understand you can misconstrue that.
Yeah,
it was ironic.
Of course.
It was and he was like, "You have no idea." And he goes, "No, better yet, you have no idea to get this, what I had to go through. But it was so dirty, I had to get it dry cleaning." And I was crying, fucking laughing. To this day, that same guy told a story about going to Japan. And
who was it? Do you remember?
I never remembered any. The only person I remember out of that whole fucking scene, sincerely, were Zach and Brody Stevens.
Oh yeah,
Brody Stevens. That's it.
Yeah.
And Brody Stevens was doing. There was a movie called 10 Things I Hate About You, and he was doing 10 Things I Hate About Me. How about that movie? It would be a short one, and it goes like this: I have hair on my cock, not on the base, halfway up it. Like, I remember there was so much great, different fucking comedy that I was on the outskirts of, and I was like, I was very, very much a frat boy. And I wasn't ready to lose that. And by the way, I don't think I'll ever be ready to lose it, I guess. But like, I fit in better at the Boston Comedy Club. But and I think that energy was changing of the old guard of like, try to get a sitcom. You still saw it a lot, and you'd highlight it. And but God, man, I cry. I saw so much great fucking shit. Were
you ever around for Tinkle? The show that John Benjamin and Todd Barry and I did at Pianos.
No,
like around the corner from where Luna Lounge was.
No, Todd Barry would cross. Todd Barry was like he could straddle the fence.
For sure. Yeah.
And Todd Barry was, he would do what he did at those bars, and he would do it at the Boston Comedy Club.
Yeah.
And you would just
he's a great joke writer. He's
brilliant.
Like a writer.
I just watched Hot Honey. What's the one he It's an older special. I just watched it the other night. I was crying, laughing.
Yeah.
Crying. I was good friends with a guy named Dimitri Martin when we started.
Yeah.
And Dimitri immediately went over there, and I was like, "Oh, that'll be." I was like, "Yeah." And then I went over there, and I remember the first night, like a fucking idiot. I went to Collective Unconscious, and I was wearing overalls, and it just didn't look right.
It's New York. It's in your head, dude. It's in your head.
When I got on stage in overalls, I think everyone was waiting for a character to come out.
Sure.
And I was just myself, and they were like, "Oh God."
I don't know. I think
I was also a bad comic. Let's just leave it at that. I was a bad comic. But God, man, I saw such cool shit. And then obviously you go to the cellar and you see a tell. I remember.
Yeah, it's just different cool shit, but it's a different thing, but it's still good. As you said, it's if you're funny, you're funny. Comics.
It's brilliant people in both camps.
Yeah.
I wish I had understood that earlier in my life. Dude, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And
Congrats on the tour.
thank you.
If anyone's listening, please go out and see him. It's going to be one of the best nights you're going to have.
Go to officialdavidcross.com. It's got all my dates. That is the first leg that's up there. Then there's going to be a second leg that we'll announce probably in a matter of days.
Is it Europe?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think Europe's going to be in the third leg. So I'm taking the summer off. It's all around my kid.
Are you going to do your podcast during the summer? Or are you going to wait until you're done the tour?
No, I'll wait until I'm done with the tour.
Yeah.
Or I can start it and bank a bunch.
Start it and bank a bunch.
Yeah, maybe.
Because everyone's home during the summer.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then, by the way, I have to say this. I don't know if you know anything about my Fully Loaded tour, but it's fucking fun as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It is fun as shit. It's over the summer. It's for 4 weeks. You don't have to do all of them. You can just jump in and do one if you want and just have fun. We're going to be opening it. I don't know. I'm sure this is coming out since we're opening it at Forest Hills. So it's going to be a big outdoor. I'm trying to get everyone out there. So if you want to just come even to hang, it's so much fucking fun.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let me know. I'll jump on stage. I would love to.
I had to tell last and Attell was destroying.
Yeah.
Destroying. That's but yeah, I'll reach out and please, I'd love to do your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make that happen.
Thank you, man, for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you.